Dark, a Slenderman fanfiction by Misery is Hell. It's so cold, so dark and so cold. What happened to make this so cold? Where is the warmth of the sun lighting my bones? He held his own very well out in the woods. All he did was skulk and stalk. There was nothing else. No one captured his eyes, not even the prettiest lady could. If only he had eyes to begin with. He saw without seeing, he breathed without breathing, yet he wasn't exactly human. All he had for fun was to kill, stalk and kill. He has killed time and time again. There was no end to the cycle. He may have killed in various ways. His ways are plenty, yet he couldn't help but grow bored. There was nothing else to do. He could stalk the neighborhood kids, creating them as minions. He could call up Jeffrey on his telephone and tell him about his empty day. No, he wouldn't do that. Perhaps he'd go for a nice walk through the woods. It wasn't as if he did that every day. No, that wouldn't do. Perhaps he'd go into a neighboring town watching the kids play in their yards. No, they weren't fun in the other town. There wasn't any other thing he could do but sit and watch the clouds roll on by. He's been doing that often. He wondered if there was going to be any visitors in his lovely, spacious forest. Over the last few years, there weren't nearly as many people entering it. Maybe it was due to the fact that the internet was now invented. He did not know yet. For the first time in his life, he wanted to feel like a human. Their lives were much more interesting than his own. He was darned to the forest as himself. Why wouldn't he want to be a human? Whoever created him, God, no, Satan, must have purposely desired to drive this creature into self-pity. The first years of his existence were bliss. He was able to do anything he put his mind to, yet now, after all this time, he's grown wary. He was too bored with impaling people, taking their organs out and putting them back in. He wondered why he was the only one of his kind. Why weren't there others like him? Why was he so alone? Even his best friend wasn't like him. Although his friend was also a killer, he was not the same as him. His life was dark. Yet he wouldn't give up. He couldn't give up. He was put here for a purpose, not just to kill. But what if his purpose was to kill? No, he couldn't take that. What was his purpose then? He thought, why couldn't it just be to turn human? Was that possible for him? He often asked himself these questions, especially when he was watching the clouds or the stars. If he was going to stop his ruthless and useless killing, he'd have to get a place to reside in, whether or not he were to build it. After all these years, he probably wouldn't be able to purchase a house. He didn't have the money, nor the cleanest slate. Maybe he could make friends with a human, one that knew the stuff he needed to do. He could always